The ocean's longest living bony fish is not a sea monster, it is something stranger. For centuries, people encountered this animal at the boundary between two worlds, the deep ocean and the shore. A silver body would appear in shallow water or wash onto a beach, sometimes several meters long. Its red crest looked like a crown. Its body looked less like a fish than a blade, a ribbon, or a serpent. With so little living evidence, imagination completed the picture. The animal became connected with sea serpent stories. In Japan, oarfish became known as messengers from the sea god's palace, and modern retellings linked their appearances with disaster. But a body on a beach is not a portrait of a healthy animal. It is only the final frame of a story that began far offshore, in water we rarely observe. It is a mesopelagic animal, not a trench animal. The deepest verified observations sit near 500 meters. To understand the oarfish, we have to leave the legend at the surface and follow the evidence down. The giant oarfish, Regalcus glesni, is the longest living bony fish known to science. Reliably documented specimens reach roughly 7 to 8 meters, about the length of a small bus. Yet its size is misleading. The body is strongly compressed from side to side. From one angle, it is a broad silver ribbon. From another, it can almost disappear into a line. A red dorsal fin begins above the head and continues along nearly the entire back. The first rays form a crest. The mouth is small and protrusible. The body carries none of the heavy shape of a giant predator. The oarfish is enormous in length, but it is built for a very different life. Suspended in open water, where buoyancy, drag, and energy matter more than brute force. Even its resemblance to a serpent is deceptive. The body does not need to coil and thrash to move. When remotely operated vehicles encountered apparently healthy oarfish in the northern Gulf of Mexico, they recorded something that stranded bodies could never show. Between 2008 and 2011, 5 such encounters were recorded. The fish could hold itself almost vertically, head above tail, while the long dorsal fin sent a traveling wave along its back. The trunk remained remarkably stiff. This is not the locomotion of an eel. The fin moves the fish, while the body preserves its shape. Oarfish also lack a swim bladder. Maintaining position in the water column depends on the interaction between their unusual body, their fins, and continuous movement. Why the vertical posture is used is still not fully resolved. One hypothesis is that it helps the fish search for prey silhouetted against the faint light above. What matters is what the observations reveal. The living oarfish is not a wounded serpent tumbling at the surface. It is a controlled open water animal with a posture unlike almost any familiar fish. Its feeding is another contradiction. The oarfish has no jaws built to tear apart large prey. Instead, its small mouth can project forward. Water and prey are drawn into the mouth, while long gill rakers help retain small animals. Records indicate a diet that includes krill and other crustaceans, along with small fish and squid. This turns the old monster image inside out. One of the longest fish in the ocean survives not by overpowering whales or attacking ships, but by finding scattered, relatively small prey in a vast volume of dark water. Its length is spectacular, its feeding is precise. If the oarfish lives offshore and at depth, why do people so often meet it near land? The honest answer is that there is no single proven cause. Some animals found at the surface are injured, weakened, or dying. Currents, storms, temperature changes, or other conditions may contribute in individual cases, but a stranding does not identify its own cause. This creates a powerful bias in human knowledge. We see the animal when something has already gone wrong. We photograph the body, measure it, and build explanations from an event that may be abnormal. The rare observations of healthy animals therefore matter far more than their number suggests. They replace a dramatic ending with a glimpse of ordinary life. The most famous claim is also the most testable, that appearances of deep-sea fish warn of earthquakes. If that were true, the pattern should survive comparison with records. A Japanese statistical study assembled hundreds of reports of unusual deep-sea fish appearances and compared them with hundreds of earthquakes. The researchers found no relationship strong enough to support the folklore as a useful warning system. Out of 336 fish appearances and 221 earthquakes, only one event could be treated as even plausibly associated under their criteria. The conclusion was not that every stranding is meaningless. It was narrower and more important. Oarfish appearances cannot be used as reliable earthquake predictions. The myth remains culturally powerful. The evidence does not make it a forecasting tool. The adult is rarely observed. Its earliest life was, until recently, even less accessible. Researchers used eggs and sperm from a recently dead pair of a related oarfish species, Regalcus russelliae. Under controlled temperatures, fertilized eggs developed for 18 days before hatching. The larvae did not look like miniature sea serpents. They were tiny and delicate, with elongated fin rays and bodies very different from the metallic adults. They often held a head-down posture. They moved mainly with their pectoral fins and repeatedly opened their mouths. The observation was historic, but also incomplete. The larvae did not feed in captivity and died 4 days after hatching. That result gave science a brief window into development, not a complete life history. We still do not know how these larvae normally feed, how they move through the upper ocean, or how the fragile young form becomes the enormous ribbon-shaped adult. Oarfish research is built from fragments. A stranded adult reveals anatomy, an ROV encounter reveals posture, stomach contents reveal prey, a laboratory hatching reveals only the first days of life. Between those fragments are years we have barely seen. Where do adults gather? How often do they hold the vertical posture? How far do they migrate? How long do they live? What brings a healthy individual upward, and what brings a dying one to shore? The deep ocean hides ordinary behavior so effectively that every rare observation can change the animal we think we know. Historical plates turned broken bodies into sea serpents. Modern cameras have begun to reverse that transformation, turning the serpent back into a fish. The oarfish is not a warning sent from the deep. It is a warning about how little of the deep we have seen. A silver ribbon, holding itself upright in the darkness, is strange enough without the myth.